What's up, everybody? It's Michelle Renee from IamMichelleRenee.com, and today I have a very, very, very near and dear special person to my heart here with me today. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. So this month you're going to see us kicking off a different series where we're going to focus on survivors and overcomers and truly dig deep into what it means to harvest Black girl magic. So today's guest is extremely special to me. She and I work together, and if you've ever met a person where you've had an instant connection with, that is how I feel about my guest. Theresa and I have bonded in such a way that it supersedes any kind of work relationship or anything of that nature. It is a true friendship and sisterhood. So everybody, welcome to IamMichelleRenee.com, Miss Theresa Thomas. Tell us who you are and where you are from, beautiful Black woman.
My name is Theresa Thomas, and I reign from New York.
Yeah.
Grew up in the cold, hard, concrete jungle of the Bronx. And, it's always the Bronx. It's not Bronx, New York. You got to put the "the" in front
The
of it.
Bronx, yes.
The Bronx. um, and so, just raised in New York, have two great parents, grew up middle class, and even in the Bronx, New York, there are middle class people who grew up in Bronx.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just think it's a whole bunch of torn down buildings or tenements, but no, the Bronx is really diverse. It has its poor parts, just like some parts of the this country, and then it's got its affluent areas and middle class areas. So I kind of lived in a neighborhood that pretty much I was like one of a few houses on my block, and then across the street was a whole bunch of buildings.
Right.
And decided to study education, and I do work with Michelle in Palm Beach County School District. So I'm an instructional specialist after over 20 years of being in the classroom. And I taught everything under social studies except for economics. I refuse to teach economics. One thing, and Michelle knows my disdain for numbers.
Yeah, yeah. But you are such a wealth of knowledge. Like your historical and political knowledge is insane. It's unmatched. It's truly unmatched.
So math is not my comfort zone. So yeah, I'm an instructional specialist, and I work with gifted students. And I'm blessed to have a position to work with, I believe, the brightest teachers and the brightest children that this district has to offer.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Well, one of the things that really has, just even from the moment I met you, like you have a spark about you, you have a shine about you that when people meet you, it's just a light. And we aptly call it Black girl magic, and we sprinkle a little here, we sprinkle a little there, we make sure that people kind of see it. But tell me what that phrase means to you, and then move into what your personal life mission is.
Black girl magic to me is this sprinkling of beauty, feelings, emotions. It's this kind of understanding that we all come from this rugged, difficult past that shapes who we are today. And I remember growing up in New York, not pretty much having a strong identity of who I was. I knew that my father was Black, and I knew that my mother was Cuban. And in New York, with the diversity of everything, it doesn't really, I want to say it doesn't really matter as much, because everybody's Caribbean. Like, at least in my neighborhood, everybody was either Caribbean or Black. And so I felt very comfortable in my skin growing up and around my family members, a lot of family always around us. I do know that, as part of this, shared culture, is that there are things that we feel very sensitive about as being Black. One being our skin color, being comfortable in our own color of our skin. I remember many times living in Georgia, how I had to justify my blackness.
Right. Right.
Either you're not black enough,
Right. Which is
the way you
insane.
look, your hair texture, your physical features, you're not quite black enough.
Right.
And then, on the flip side, with my Latin parts of my families, because I have very Latin families, parts of my family that don't speak any English at all, and I could remember growing up with them and them seeing features in me, like my bigger size lips, that were sometimes pointed out more so,
Right.
and so this shared background for Black Girl Magic, this, what we have as our colorism, our hair textures, our differences in the way we look, our body features, all of that, that shared past history, along with getting to know who we are as individuals. Because I don't believe that we're, let's just say this. I used to think everybody around me had this playbook that I didn't have.
Yeah.
Everybody was running off a playbook. I didn't have this playbook, and I was just trying to figure me out and figure this thing out.
Yeah.
And so that's part to me of what Black Girl Magic is. For me right now, I'm still learning my talents. I love that Michelle, I always say, oh, I'm not gifted. I'm really not, because I know Michelle is. There's truly a difference in the way she thinks and the way she sees and perceives things that I can just tell. For me, it just takes a second long, and I am an extremely hard worker, and I believe that is the backbone of my family. I learned by seeing my mom come here as an immigrant and being able to muster up all that pain of not even being able to speak English, but being put in an English class, expected to succeed like everybody else, when the piece wasn't there. And I had to explain to my mother the funny thing between equity and equality. I would tell my mom, when you came to this country, you had equal access to education just like everybody else, but there were things that were not equitable about your experience.
Yeah.
That made it way more difficult for you to even be. And I'm proud that my mom is a high school graduate. I'm extremely proud of that, coming from where she came from. And she's part of my Black Girl Magic.
Right.
When I muster up the strength to do things, it's because I've seen what my mother has gone through. She's told me about that painful past of growing up in a third world country. She points out on a daily basis things that are wasteful about me, and she corrects me, and I consider those things to be sins to this day. So all of that to me is what makes Black Girl Magic, makes the magic in me. I know, like, I don't perceive things the same way that other people perceive things. When you have a mom who comes from a third world country, when you see things thrown away, a soup can be made out of that. Or
right, that's right. Like, hold on now, wait.
What to do with that?
And I think that's what we share in common. Whereas, our families both have, Caribbean history, but also just that your father comes from the South, right? My parents grew up in the South, and so we share a lot of those commonalities, but to see it manifest in a Black and Cuban family versus a Southern rural Mississippi and Haitian family, like, it's like, oh, we did that too, or that's what my mom and my dad used to say too. So it's very interesting to see how that manifests or whatever. So what do you, when you think about yourself, right? What would you say is your personal mission statement? Being that you've derived and developed and are still developing this identity in yourself, as you develop Black Girl Magic, as you manifest it or harvest it, what would you say that your personal mission statement is, or how do you develop that statement?
And I want to say right now, because it's constantly evolving. But like you said, through this current battle that has become so realistic in my life, with breast cancer that I was diagnosed with in November. But like you said, in October is coming up in a year. I started actually treatment in November. So more right along. The diagnosis part was November, and then the treatment part started coming in November, October. Yeah. So with that part of my life, I have realized that my mission is to help other people get through difficult situations as Christ would want me
Mm.
to do that. And that's just, I'm looking now to the cross to see how every experience that I can go through here in life, that Christ has already set the example for how I should deal with
Right.
it. And the hardest thing was going through the cross. So he has already showed me how to deal with adversity.
Right.
I got stuck on last week. I'm in a Bible study, and it talks about Abba, Father, if you can take this cup from me, please do so, but your will, not mine.
Your will, not mine.
Your
Yes.
will, not mine. And so Christ became fully human, had to experience every single heartache and everything that we could possibly experience on this world. He had to come and show us how to live that life, how to walk that walk, how to carry that cross. And if I can just help any other person to do that as well, then I feel like I fulfilled my purpose. I have a friend of mine, actually one of my best friends from high school, who said they would not have gone to get tested. And meanwhile, she has a history of cancer, but fear, which is that ever-present
Yes.
demon
Yes.
that is paralyzing.
Very.
Fear was keeping her from going to get a mammogram. And my experience was the stimulus to just the catalyst to just kind of say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and get this done. And on her first mammogram, she found they found cancer. And we've been in prayer for her and keeping her in our thoughts and prayers. But it's that experience that I went through that helped her to go through it. And we continually talk about the experience. And I think that for me, that helps me get through my difficult situations
Right.
better. Knowing that I can help somebody else, it doesn't take it away, but it lifts it.
Right.
It lifts the stress, the anxiety, the why me, the self-pity that I can get trapped in, which is what the enemy wants me to get trapped in, instead of focusing on the truth. And I was reading this just this morning about the difference between news and truth.
Mm.
Most of what we get is news. It's news to us. It's not news to God.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. You
he,
already knew.
he already knows. It's news to us.
Mm-hmm.
And that news, we have a choice then to focus on how devastating the news is, or we can focus on the truth.
Yeah.
The truth is Christ,
Right.
and in all things he wants me to happy, joyous, and free. In all things he's already conquered death. He's already conquered everything that every fear, everything I'm gonna go through, he's already gone through it. So that's the truth. Stay focused on the truth rather than the news.
Let's walk down just a little bit memory lane, and if it's too painful, we can divert from it. But let's walk down, because I think it's important for women to know, because you just spoke about your friend and how fear was kind of the thing that kept her from going in before and getting screened and tested to see and check to see if there was anything going on. How did you come about? Of course, I know the story firsthand, but how did you come about seeing what was going on? Give an account of what happened that led you to find out about your diagnosis.
So one of the first things that I would like to suggest to anybody who is viewing, who catches this message, above all things, listen to your body.
Yes.
It is talking to you all the time. It tells you when you're thirsty, it tells you when you're hungry, and it gives you signs that you're sick. And one of the things that I really detest about cancer is that you just have no idea that you have it.
Yeah.
It's not a cold where you start feeling symptoms and you go into the doctor and they say it's this, that, and the other.
It manifests in strange ways, right?
It manifests in strange ways, or it doesn't manifest until it's a big deal. Yeah. And that's what happened to me, is that I have been getting little telltale signs for maybe about 4 or 5 months that something was going on with my body.
Yeah.
I was coming into work, my back, I was like, my back is not feeling quite right.
I gave you a whole baby. I was like, Theresa, you're pregnant. So not a doctor. Don't listen to my medical advice.
So I have been getting some signs that something was wrong. I go to yearly physicals. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I would suggest you get really comfortable is get real comfortable with your doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, your doctor should be someone that you are really, not that you're just going to go through the motions, because that's what I was doing. My life is like moving through lists of motions. What needs to be done for A, my husband, B, my daughter, and then of course I'm always last.
Right.
And
As
so
most women, as we put ourselves, yes.
I'm always last. And so I have been getting backaches, and I just didn't pay attention to it. And I started making up a narrative in my mind as to what the cause was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's very dangerous. It's a
Yes.
dangerous thing that we are doing.
Yes. And we do it, all of us, every single one of us. Oh, this hurts because this, or this is this way because of this. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, I had not really paid attention to doing monthly self exams simply because I felt lumps even when I was young.
Yeah.
And in my family, we have these thing called, I guess they're cysts, or
Mm-hmm.
they're lumps that are not cancerous. My mother and my sister both had surgery underneath their arms. So once again, I'm creating this narrative as to, oh, I have been seeing like little areas getting swelled up under my arms, which turns out that it was cancer that spread to my lymph nodes. But there again, oh, my sister did this, not a big deal. Oh, I have a backache. Oh, I helped my daughter move some boxes for school, and I must have pulled something. Oh, the hurricane came, and I helped my
Put up
husband
shutters. Yeah.
put up shutters. Oh, I strained my back even more. So a good 3 to 4 months of dealing with pain in my back. Finally wound up me going to ask for some pain medicine because I was getting ready to go for a wedding. And I said, well, I'll just go and get some pain meds, and that'll probably deal with it until I can actually get it seen by a specialist. Well, my doctor didn't like how I was presenting myself. And this is not my regular doctor. This is another doctor this is actually a physician's assistant that is at the practice. She had I just want to say the knowledge, because I don't know why the doctor didn't, another doctor didn't do this before, but she had the knowledge to go ahead and order an MRI. And the MRI showed that I had lesions on my liver, and that I had in my spine, I had tumors on my spine.
Wow.
And then I got called in the next day, and with my husband and the physician assistant sat us down and kind of told us, this is what we see, and this is what you need to go and get. We believe it's metastatic breast cancer, and you need to go today. Like as soon as I left the office, yes, and go ahead and do a 3D mammography. And then from that, they ordered me a biopsy like the next day. And, everything came down that it was HER2 positive breast cancer, which in my case is a very aggressive and fast moving cancer. I had my last screening in 2017. So I basically missed the 2018 mammogram. Now, from what I was told, that they're changing the requirements for screening.
Right.
So if your doctor says that, you've had a screening last year, you don't have a history of cancer, you don't need one until this and such date, you need to do self breast exams. You need to know what your body feels like, because I wasn't doing that. And I probably may have noticed something in that year that I didn't have a mammogram, that my doctor could have ordered one, because I was a new patient. And as a new patient, most doctors want a mammogram. He didn't order one that year. So, a whole pretty much, sometimes I can't believe that only a year went by and I was at stage 4. But what I want people to know is that that's how quickly this type of cancer can advance. 1 year not getting a mammogram, and stage 4 is what they diagnosed me as. But I just want to say, everyone, that I am free and clear of cancer as today. Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, to God be the glory.
To God be the glory. He continues to show me that I'm not going through this for no reason, that it's to inspire and give hope to other women who are going through this, to know that, their stories, it's not all bad. You do have to be patient and take treatment however it comes. When I couldn't walk for 2 weeks.
Right.
And
But
it was what it was.
But you're not only walking, you're cycling and riding your bike and going for walks and going swimming and doing all of these things that a year ago in October, we were fearful would not happen.
Right.
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 And something kept saying, mm-mm, this is not how this story is going to go.
Right.
And we kept talking. I was like, nah, Theresa, I was like, this ain't going to go like that. I was like, you have a story of overcoming that is going to be shared with the world. And we just got to push through it. Right. And I say we because the way that you go from seeing and being with a person 10 to 12 hours every day to 2 out of 3 of our meals are eaten together. You literally, we feed off one another. We sit for hours on the phone, or we're sitting for hours working on things. And even on the days when we're not at work, we'll find some way to get back together, whether it's going and picking out lipstick, or whether it's dropping something off, or where they're exchanging plants or exchanging fruits or whatever. So when this happens, you're at a standstill, and you have to find the strength to say, I don't accept this. Like, I hear what man and what the doctors are attempting to say. I don't accept that because God has given me a different message. And that's the only message I'm going to listen to. That's the only message I'm going to accept. And even in the hardest moments, you did that. You only accepted what God had given to you, was that this too shall pass. That was your phrase. That is your phrase. And this too shall pass. And watching just the overcoming, the step by step, the daily, everything. When you're in a battle, you don't see what it looks like to be victorious. But the people who are watching you in a battle do see it. And so, I'm sorry, seeing you every day and getting updates every day and talking to your husband every day or talking to your sister, and just understanding how you worked and how you had a team of just prayer warriors that were relentless in making sure that, oh no, we're going to lift this up because we know that God has a supernatural thing that he's going to do. And he did. From the shrinking of the tumor on your spine to just the way that, your sister advocated for aggressive treatment. Aggressive.
Yeah, I was supposed to have 11 chemo treatments, and after 6, they said they couldn't see the cancer anymore, and I had a complete metabolic response to treatment. And I just owe that all to Christ. I had great doctors. I had a great sister who made sure I got doctors that she trusted,
Right.
that she had on her cell phone, that she knew at any point in time that if I had a question, she could call them. I wouldn't have to deal with, the navigating such a difficult highway of the medical, complex, I want to call it, because it's what it is. You get so many, you have a financial, when you get this type of a diagnosis, I want to tell you, so many people that come to you, don't know how you're going to get through this, but you have a financial advocate at the hospital. You have spiritual advisors that come and see you. You've got a social worker that tries to help you to deal with the diagnosis and places that you can get help in order to deal with it. All of those things just opened up for me when, like I said, my sister stepped in and she helped me to navigate all of this that I was going to be dealing with. And I just had I had a crew of people who just got on it. I mean, you got on it. I speak to a few of your sorors today who I need to speak to for various reasons. And I'm just surprised sometimes that they already know me.
Yeah. Because I talk about you all the time,
Like they already know me. And they always say, we've prayed for you. And that is so helpful. People
absolutely
pray for you. I mean, I'm just one of those people that I'm like, please continue because I need it.
Don't stop. Don't stop. Like, just because we've come to this place of overcoming, and we've been to that mountaintop, and now we're able to stand and look and see the things that you've overcome. It's like, no, don't stop praying. Like, we still We still need the prayer. We still need all of it. Just lifting up those different things. If you had to have a conversation with your younger self, what would you say?
Trust your inner voice, because some of that inner voice is me trying to work through life.
Yeah.
That's part of my inner voice. It's me trying to work through every situation. And then the other part of that inner voice is, when I really think about it, there's that voice of mine that's dealing with the world and the swirls in my head. But then there's this very, very still and other calm voice that if I stop doing what I'm doing and I listen to it, I can hear God. Not like God just saying, "Hey, Theresa," it's not that.
Yeah.
He has the ability to impress on my heart and just to allow me to feel a sense of peace and comfort.
Yeah.
He is a comforter. It's just a blessing to have.
Okay. That's powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah,
When we think about
voice.
just being in a place where you can say that I know if I'm quiet enough, if I'm still enough, and if I'm patient enough, I can hear God. That's major. Because it speaks to that connection that you have with him, and that he has his hand on you. He has you're connected. You are one with him. You are him. He is you. And I think that's what we need in those times when we really have to overcome battles, is knowing that you are not in this space alone. A lot of people feel alone. You're not alone. You are exactly, I have it written down in one of my journals. And it actually came up on my Facebook memories the other day, is that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing in this moment.
Exactly.
And in this moment, you are meant to inspire and to give hope and to be a testimony, to share with the world what it's like to overcome. Because you did experience being told that this is the most aggressive form, right? And having to stare that in the face and then digest it. And then your response was, but God.
Oh God. That's a friend of mine, Miranda. You and I both know her.
Yeah.
And I remember I take nuggets from everybody. God speaks to me through people.
Yeah.
Another thing, you listen, you can hear God speaking to you through others around you. And Miranda's just one of those people in my life that whenever I see a post from her, whether it's on Facebook, on the internet or something, she's always posting something that's trying to uplift people spiritually. Absolutely. And I need that. I know God led her to me for a reason. When I was looking for places to do community service, there's a reason why I needed that woman in my life.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
God does
even when it came down to, I tell you all the time the story of how your hiring came about, and I was just like, God, I need you to make this decision. I'm being given these choices. I'm still new in my position. You asking me to hire people and make good choices for 14,000 kids. I don't know how to do this. Give me a second. Give me a sign. And it was like so clear as day. This is the person. This is what you're gonna do, and this is how it's gonna be done. And I was like, okay, all right, this is the person. This is what we're gonna do. And when you came in, I was like, Theresa, these are the things we're gonna do. And you were like, when? I said, like, soon.
Vision. You had the vision,
right? And the amount of things that we accomplished in the year prior to your diagnosis, right? Like, we knocked down mountains like left and right. We were changing, policy and doing all these different things. And when it happened, like God was like, okay, everything that you were trying to do, she's made her mark. Now we got some other type of work to do. And I was like, okay, tell me what I need to do in the midst of this. He's like, just be there.
Mm-hmm.
All I need you to do is just be there. I can handle that. But if you need me to do more, I'll do more. But I can handle the being there. And
I don't know how you have the energy. You are you are like a fairy in and of. I don't even know where you get it from. You have your magnificent girls and your husband that you manage. All the content that you're putting out is a blessing. I mean, you really are showing women how to do this thing called life.
listen, the only way you can do it, in my opinion, is if you allow God to lead it. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't do anything that's not God led. I don't do anything that's not, even there are lots of things that I want to do and a lot of stuff that I want to say and a lot of content that I want to put out that he's like, nope. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Unless you can find a way to make what you want to say glorify me, then absolutely not.
That's important.
And so it just sits in queue. And it's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
all right, God, I listen. I'm going to be obedient because he has shown me over the past 13 years, 12 years, I can say as long as I've had my children, what it looks like to be obedient and what the results and the fruits of obedience look like. And my fruits have been very, very nourishing from being obedient. And so I'm learning to listen. So when you talk about that voice,
That's
and
right.
what it's like to listen to that voice guides you in such a way that you're able to do things you never imagined you could do. You're able to overcome things you never imagined you could overcome. And you're truly not leaning to your own understanding. You're leaning to his. And that is what makes this whole Black girl magic thing, in my opinion, so special, because I know he created us in a way that we're able to do things like have a bunch of kids, have a job, have multiple jobs, do multiple things, volunteer, be a wife, be a sister, be a friend, and make it look effortlessly done, just without flaw. But that's because
Yeah, but it's such a scary thing to say that, because we do it, and there is a cost. There's a
it is a
very
cost. It's a high cost, but the cost comes to
that way.
if you are going to lean on him for your strength, because there are times when I'm done with all of this, I'm exhausted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in my exhaustion, I go and I pray and I say, God, direct me. If I am doing this or if I'm going about this in a way that is not of you or for you, stop me.
Amen.
But if I'm doing what you're having me to do, give me rest.
Amen.
And when I close my eyes and wake up the next day, I feel refreshed. And I'm going, Lord, I don't even know how you did it. I know you did it because you're you, but thank you for refreshing me, because just yesterday I felt weary, or just this morning I felt weary. And you said you will not become weary in well doing. And so as long as it's the well doing, it's when we are not operating in the well doing that we feel ourselves exhausted to where we can't repair it. It's where we feel ourselves so tired and so weak that we can't come back from it.
I often refer to it also as self-will run riot.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
and that comes from being being very careful about, am I doing this or is God doing this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because when I put the I in it, or I make these lists and I want to do, when I'm at the beginning of a list, it's long, and I can't do all of that. God knows exactly what I can and what I can't do.
Right.
And when I turn things over to him, and I let him direct my paths and guide my thoughts, things usually turn out well. But when I get caught up in what Theresa wants to do and Theresa's self-will, it can get pretty hairy, because I do want to do more than what I am supposed to do. I do want to jump over mountains and run marathons and do things. And then there's God that has to say, you know, this is what you can do, you know, trusting in that voice, because I could wear myself out.
Mm-hmm.
And part of what got me in this situation too, and which helped me to realize, is that I cannot keep running like the Energizer Buddy, thinking that there's no consequences to this thing.
That's right. I want to go back to something you said that is so critical that we all have to address. And it's so important that you and I talk about this all the time when it comes to self-care. But you said taking care of things for my husband, taking care of things for my daughter, and then last is me.
Mm-hmm.
That is the most detrimental statement for all moms, all wives, and really all women, because even when you're not a wife or a mother, it's an inherent mindset to put everybody's needs before your own. And we have to change and shift that narrative. Yes, we are nurturers. Yes, we are caregivers. Yes, we take care of people, but it should never, and I'm preaching to myself right now, be at the cost of your health or of your self-care. So I think that that's another major thing that a nugget that people can take away from this is that, you know, it's good to take care of your family, and it's good to, you know, care for your community and take care of your friends and do all these different things. But it's also good to take care of you, because if you don't take care of you, then you can't do any of those things. It's critical. So tell me, what are some of the things that you do for self-care now?
I get plenty of rest. Um, you know, I would say that before I was sick, I would kind of like just work. When I get home, after I put in a full day at work, it was okay. Now, what do I need to do in the house? So today, it's more like, you know what, that can wait.
Yep.
That's not gonna kill anybody, because the dishes are in the sink and they have not, you know, been washed. It's just me and my husband, so there's only one or two of us that are making the dishes that are gonna wash this. I'm like, that can wait. I have to realize when my pride is getting in the way, because my pride can be a bit of a problem sometimes. It can hinder me as certain things, and I have to realize that if somebody comes over and finds some dishes in my sink, it will be okay.
Well, you know, I'm the friend. If I come over and I see him, I'm gonna wash them, and we're
So,
gonna keep it moving. We're gonna move right along. I'm like, oh, okay. And it's inherent. So those are the kind of friends you need, because I know the same as if you came over here and I was in need,
mm-hmm.
whatever needs to be done, that's what's gonna be done. And that's the blessing of having a friend like you. And that's the best blessing of being a friend to you, is that you would let me and I wouldn't have to fight you.
Right.
And that takes growth, because that wasn't how it always was. It was, you know, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. You are the queen of the 8-course meals. Who, you know, you don't do anything small or half done. And that's beautiful until it's draining, right? And so you have to learn, okay, if I'm going to do it big, I'm going to start early and do it big in digestible chunks. I'm not going to do all of this at one time. And it's okay for me to say, you know what, I'm not going to do it like that this time. Yeah, I've done it that way before, but no, this is a different season in life, and I'm okay with not doing it that way. And I'm
It's
so
okay
proud
to
of
say
you.
no. And it's okay to say no.
And it's okay to say no. And I think we, both of us, have grown in that way.
It's
That
okay to say
we're
no.
now like, yep, no is a complete sentence.
And not have to put anything afterwards, period.
No.
You are only here but for a mist.
Yes.
I read that in as one of my Bible studies. I don't know where it came from, but in the Bible is just an amazing book.
It
you know,
is.
Scripture is just an amazing, because from somebody put together, you are here but for a mist.
Yes. MIST.
I mean, that's a perfect visual. You're here and then you're gone. And
That's
so for
it.
me to have to worry about other folks' feelings at this point in the game, I am going to be kind, because Christ calls me to be kind.
Yes.
But I don't, you know, I'm no longer putting myself in jeopardy because I'm trying to be nice, or I'm trying to, you know, that stuff is over with now. You know, I have to, like, so what are the things? I rest.
Yeah.
I'm taking supplements.
Yeah.
I'm listening to my doctor and their suggestions.
Mhm.
I try to eat well as best as I can. I have a mom who makes sure I get lots of
Yes.
great access to lots of great different foods. Um, the best thing that I am doing right now, and I know I keep bringing it, probably keep circling around, but the best thing I'm doing is staying in the Word, because that is really the bread of life for me right now. If I did not have the Scripture and the Word speaking the truth to me, those voices would have been conquered my mind and my spirit and my desire and my motivation and my will to live. Like I knew once I was diagnosed and I got my ability to walk back, I had to come back to work. Like I was on
Yeah.
the phone with you, like, oh, I'm coming back to work.
Yeah.
I
And you
think
were
it was
there.
right after
As
Thanksgiving.
soon as you got cleared, you were there. I was like, what in the what?
Mhm.
What?
Gotta
What
do it.
are you? But
Gotta do
once you got there, I
it.
understood. And I have to say, because people were like, why would you let her come back? I said, listen, one, this is what's driving her. So if this is what she needs to drive her, then by all means, stay out of her way and let her drive. I said, and two, this is a little selfish. I need to see her because my heart worried every single day that I didn't. So being able to walk in and see you sitting at your desk and lean out of my chair and see you, I needed that just as much as you needed that. And so our duo was reinstated.
Yeah.
And just that feeling to know that you have your partner, you
Absolutely.
know, was powerful. Like that's why I tell people, my husband's like, why you and Theresa got to get on a meeting every day? I said, because we need each other. Like that's how we set our intentions for the day. Like we're gonna go do our devotionals and our word, and then we come and we have our fellowship, right? And say, all right, so what you got going today? What are we working on, and what are we doing? And it helps to drive and ground kind of like how we are gonna function, and that's powerful. This is the final question. And I don't feel like it's a huge doozy, but it's a doozy. I tell people it's a doozy all the time. What's one word that affirms who you are?
Um, I would say, what is the word when you try to fulfill other people's needs? That's a
Mm,
hard word. Like that's the kind of person,
Complimentary or complimentary.
yeah, that's the kind of person that I want to be. Like when people see me, I would hope that they think of somebody who is kind, approachable, and compassionate. Like I
Absolutely.
want to be compassionate to people. I don't want to, I'm working, God is constantly working on me. I'm not going to be perfect. I'm going to always be a work in progress, but I hope that God convicts me to be the kind of person that when I do meet him at the end, he'll say, well done, good and faithful servant. That's just, and that's a hard thing because you're going to come across people that you're just like you would have been much better off if you had never even encountered them. But sometimes I just wonder, is God working on me?
I think it's all a test.
It's all working on me. Sometimes I have been told that when you find something in somebody you don't like, check that thing because it may be something about yourself that person
Yeah.
is emulating, and that's why you
Yeah.
see it so well, because it's
Absolutely.
something you don't like about yourself. And so I have to work on that. I claim that I'm open-minded, but I'm very closed-minded when it comes to certain things and
Yeah.
people and philosophies. So it's all relative.
Right, right, right. We're definitely a work in progress, but you're a beautiful work in progress. You are a dope Black woman. You're a dope Black survivor. And you're a dope Black friend, a dope Black mom, a dope Black sister, daughter, and wife.
I'm gonna take
And
all of that because obviously I need it.
yes, you are all that. And
Also
I'm
learning how to take
so
from others because
yes.
it's hard when it's they talk about it all the time, the imposter syndrome and things like
Yeah.
that. So it's hard to take compliments and stuff like that, trying to dismiss them and stuff. But I need to hear those things
Yeah.
and know that they're true,
And they are true. You're one of the most beautiful and kind people I've ever met, giving and honest, and just you personify what a friend and a sister is. So I tell you that all the time, and I mean that. And I'm grateful to have you in my circle and have you as a prayer partner and a friend and a sister and a colleague,
Absolutely.
and to be able to go in family, to be able to work with somebody that you genuinely love. I've been in positions where I didn't. So, and to just be able to have that and to know that you and your family are an extension of my family, is truly powerful. So I'm beyond grateful to have you and to be able to share you with the world and to share your story and to hopefully offer some glimmers of hope for women and let them know that you too can overcome anything, not just cancer, but anything, anything. And I think that's what we have to make sure that we're sharing, doing, and being. So, Theresa,
Right.
thank you so much for your
Thank
time.
you for
Thank
giving
you
me the
for being
platform to
exactly who
share.
you are. Absolutely. I
Thank you.
appreciate you.
All right.